Design Thinking, lecture number 9. The theme of the lecture is prototyping. According to the plan of our lecture, we're going to discuss the following questions. The first, types of prototyping. Second, low fidelity prototyping. And the third, high fidelity prototyping. As you know, the design thinking process consists of 5 different phases or steps. And the fourth step is called prototype. One of the best ways to gain insights in a design thinking process is to carry out some form of prototyping. This method involves producing an early, inexpensive, and scaled-down version of the product in order to reveal any problems with the current design. Prototyping offers designers the opportunity to bring their ideas to life, test the practicability of the current design, and to potentially investigate how a sample of users think and feel about the product. Prototypes are often used in the final testing phase in a design thinking process in order to determine how users behave with the prototype, to reveal new solutions to problems, or to find out whether or not the implemented solutions have been successful. The results generated from these tests are then used to redefine one or more of the problems established in the earlier phases of the project and to build a more robust understanding of the problems users may face when interacting with the product in the intended environment. Look at the diagram. Here we distinguish 2 types of prototyping. The first type is low fidelity prototyping, and the second, high fidelity prototyping. Prototyping methods are generally divided into 2 separate categories: low and high fidelity prototyping. Let's analyze each of these types. Low fidelity prototyping involves the use of base models or examples of the product being tested. For example, the model might be incomplete and utilize just a few of the features that will be available in the final design, or it might be constructed using materials not intended for the finished article, such as wood, paper, or metal for a plastic product. Low fidelity prototype can either be models that are cheaply and easily made, or simply recount or visualization of them. Let's analyze pros and cons of low fidelity prototyping. If we speak about the pros, we can find the following benefits. So low fidelity prototyping is quick and inexpensive, possible to make instant changes and test new iteration, disposable and throw away, enables the designers to gain an overall view of the product using minimal time and effort, as opposed to focusing on the finer details over the course of slow incremental changes. Available to all, regardless of ability and experience, we are able to produce a rudimentary version of the product, and in order to test users or canvass the opinion of the stakeholders. And the last one encourages and fosters design thinking. The next column describes the cons of low fidelity prototyping. An inherent lack of realism due to the basic and sometimes sketchy nature of low fidelity prototypes. The applicability of results generated by the test involving simply earlier version of a product may lack validity. The second, depending on your product, the product of the low fidelity prototypes may not be appropriate for your intended users. For instance, if you are developing a product bound by a number of contextual constraints or dispositional constraints, then basis versions may not reflect the nature, appearance, or feel of the finished product, maybe of scan use, revealing very little of the eventual user experience. And the next one is such prototypes often remove control from the user, as they generally have to interact in basic ways or simply inform an evaluator, demonstrate or write a blow-by-blow account of how they would use the finished product. The next type of prototyping is high fidelity prototypes. These types of prototypes that look and operate closer to the finished product. For example, a 3D plastic model with movable parts, allowing user to manipulate and interact with the device in the same manner as the finished final design, is high fidelity in comparison to a wooden block. Let's analyze pros and cons of the high fidelity prototyping. Among the benefits of high fidelity prototyping are the following. Engaging, the stakeholders can instantly see their vision realized and will be able to judge how well it meets their expectations, wants, and needs. The next feature, user testing involving high fidelity prototypes will allow the evaluators to gather information with a high level of validity and applicability. The closer the prototype is to the finished product, the more confident the design team will have in how people will respond to interact with the perceive the design. Among the cons or drawbacks of high fidelity prototyping are the following. They generally take much longer to produce than low fidelity prototypes. Next, when testing prototypes, test users are more inclined to focus and comment on superficial characteristics as opposed to the content. After the next feature is, after devoting hours and hours of time producing an accurate model of how a product will appear and behave, designers are often loath to make changes. Software prototypes may give test users a false impressions of, how good the finished article may be. The next, making changes to prototypes can take a long time, thus delaying the entire project in the process. However, low fidelity prototypes can usually be changed within hours, if not minutes. For example, when sketching or paper prototyping models are utilized. Due to the pros and cons of low fidelity and high fidelity prototyping, it should be not surprise that low fidelity prototyping is the usual option during the early stage of a design thinking project, while high fidelity prototyping is used during the later stages when the test questions are more refined. Guidelines for prototyping are the following. It is important to remember that prototypes are supposed to be quick and easy tests of design solutions. Here are a few guidelines that will help you in the prototype stage. So the first is just start building. Design thinking has a bias towards action. That means if you have any uncertainties about what you are trying to achieve, your best bet is to just make something. Creating a prototype will help you to think about your idea in a concrete manner and potentially allow you to gain insights into ways you can improve your ideas. The second step, don't spend too much time. Prototyping is all about speed. The longer you spend building your prototype, the more emotionally attached you can get with your idea, thus hampering your ability to objectively judge its merits. The next recommendation is remember what you are testing for. All prototypes should have a central testing issue. Do not lose sight of that issue, but all the same time, at the same time. Do not get so bound to it so as to lose sight of other lessons you could learn from. And the next recommendation is build with the user in mind. Test the prototype against your expected user behaviors and user needs. Then learn from the gaps in expectations in realities and improve your ideas. Thank you very much for your attention.